Just as the Irish, just as the Japanese and the African American community left a legacy of court decisions, I think American Muslims are also going to be able to point to a legacy of court cases that make America more free.
You know, one of the great things about America is that you have your rights in the Constitution, but in order to secure those rights, you must stand up and you must push back and you must struggle for it.
A necessary component of that process is the use of the law as a tool of advocacy and as a tool of establishing a foundation of equality.
We are advocating for laws that are already on the books, that people have fought and died for.
If we don't stand up and defend ourselves, then essentially what we're doing is we're betraying the memory or the legacy of groups before us like African Americans, Catholics, Jews, who had to stand up and defend their rights. And we're abandoning the group that comes after us, because today it's the American Muslim community. Tomorrow it will be somebody else. We owe it to the people who worked before us to defend the people who will come after us.
Muslims are being harassed all over the world, and imagine if we don't stand up, who's going to stand up for other Muslims?
Cair, as an advocacy and civil rights organization, ensures that American Muslims are treated equally, with respect, with dignity, like all Americans.
At the end of the day, we have two challenges as American Muslims. The first is to tell our story, because people are afraid of that which they don't know. The second is that those people who have obtained rights have stood up for their rights. So Cair is that organization and that entity that assists the Muslim community in standing up for its rights.
And if we don't have some organization taking care of this kind of the problems, who will take care of that?
Prior to the founding of Cair, American Muslims largely went unheard in our society. But Cair has been able to give a voice to American Muslims, to their concerns, and to the issues that impact their daily lives.
So we know how to get the press's attention, and that makes sure that the perspective of the American Muslim community reaches the American public.
Not only do we promote Muslim civil rights, but we promote a Muslim perspective to those who are in power.
And we're really able to make a difference in how Muslims are seen in America.
We are making a difference in people's life.
Cair is very important to American society and to the American Muslim community, because it stands on principle in terms of defending civil liberties and protecting the religious rights of all Americans.
We stand up for the civil rights for the Muslim community. That's what we do.
Council on American-Islamic Relations has representatives from about 30 cities on Capitol Hill holding meetings with congressional offices, speaking directly to members of Congress or their staff.
An example of one of these cases is what we had happen to Ghulam Mohammed.
In 2009, he traveled legally to Yemen, then Somalia, and finally Kuwait. He was, he says, studying Arabic. But last month, when he tried to renew his visa in Kuwait, he was detained by local authorities.
They handcuffed me, and then they put me in the car. I asked them for a lawyer, and they laughed at me, and they smacked me for a lawyer.
And all we asked for was just to recognize Gulen's rights.
What we were left with was the reality that a person doesn't have rights unless they're willing to enforce those rights in a court of law.
I contacted Cair because I knew that Cair is the only organization that had the organizational skills to handle this case.
They put a good game plan, good strategy to release Gulen. Without Cair, I don't think Gulen would have been out. It would have took like 2 or 3 years.
So we filed a lawsuit, and a few days later, Gulen came in.
Ghulam Mohammed back on U.S. soil at last.
It feels great to be home. Wonderful. It feels great. God bless America.
Our Imam takes a group to Hajj every year.
Of course, going Hajj mean a lot for the Muslims. Some of them even collect the money for whole year, whole life, maybe.
Their passports were seized by CBP.
And I didn't know what I should do. And I saw some, like the people from our group, they like the 50 years old, 55, 60 years old, they were crying like a baby because it meant for them a lot.
Cair got involved.
We immediately contacted government officials, we contacted appropriate authorities, raised the issue of why these passports would be seized.
They were with the case and they helped us every second of the event, and they were very, very just like caring about us.
So I think swift action in this case really had a tremendous impact.
Our Hajis were able to go and perform their Hajj and return home safely.
A new and a major challenge facing American Muslims and Islam in America is the active movement of Islamophobes.
This spring, more than 24 states tried to pass laws that could have resulted in state-sanctioned discrimination against American Muslims.
This is a preemptive strike to make sure that liberal judges don't take the bench in an effort to use their position to undermine those founding principles and to consider international law or Sharia law. They understand that this is a war for the survival of America. It's a cultural war, it's a social war.
These laws serve the purpose of being a vehicle for a small but committed group of Islamophobes to organize anti-Muslim sentiment in the United States.
Okay, so Tennessee has passed a law banning Sharia law, a felony to practice it in the state. A hearing is set on Capitol Hill next week to talk about, you know, how loyal or radical American Muslims are. It doesn't sound like cultural bridges are being built here.
Unfortunately, no. And it's not just Tennessee. It's 13 red states that are trying to ban Sharia law.
I think there's a red flag should come up anytime we have our legislatures and our government trying to regulate our religion. Islam is the only faith mentioned in this law. We should not have the state governing and defining what our religion is.
And again, Sharia is the moral and value, the morals and values of Islam. So in banning that, they would ban the religion of Islam, the practice of it. We suspect that none of these will go through because it violates the freedom of religion in the First Amendment. But the signal is that Muslims aren't welcome there.
If we know that it's impossible for a foreign law or a religious law to ever conflict with and replace the laws of our courts, we need to ask these politicians, why were you deliberately misinforming Oklahomans into voting for this?
The fact that this is happening in the 21st century in the United States of America is just unfathomable, and we need some answers, and we need them soon.
Within 2 days of that ballot initiative passing, with 700,000 votes, we filed a lawsuit to prevent that measure from becoming the law of Oklahoma.
We've had organizations such as the NAACP, the American Civil Liberties Union, and Reform Immigration of America, as well as some Jewish leaders and Catholic leaders, stand up to say this anti-Sharia movement is wrong, Cair has it right.
Had that lawsuit not been filed, we would be living in a country where there is a law that discriminates on its face against American Muslims.
I believe the educational projects are one of the strengths of Cair, because Cair is not just a civil rights organization or an advocacy group, but we're also involved in educating America about American Muslims and about what it means to be Muslim in America. Whether it be the Library Project, the Journalist Project, or the continuation of the Quran Project, our educational projects at Cair offer the Muslim community a way to get involved, to help, to really make a difference and change things in America.
A number of Cair chapters have Muslim youth leadership symposiums in which we train young Muslims, high school and college age youth, about the importance of being civically and politically engaged.
And gives them the advocacy tools that Cair has been building up over 17 years. And that way what we're doing is ensuring that the work of this organization is passed on to the next generation and continues to exist to defend our community long after people like me have retired.
And so we hope that through the support of our community and so forth, that CAIR can continue with its educational endeavors.
So I'm very excited about the future of the American Muslim community in this country.
Because CAIR is working on these things, we ask the Muslim community to support us and work with us.
American Muslims and the nation need a professional organization like CAIR to challenge these Islamophobes and this fear-mongering against American Muslims and Islam on the national level, in legal capacity, educational capacity, informational capacity.
It pushes back against them and makes sure bigotry remains at the fringe where it belongs.
There are a lot of issues that we are facing both as Muslims and as Americans, but there is hope.
And throughout our history, we've had a tremendous track record of success.
Our chapters nationwide are part of a national movement that is growing in response to the needs of the community and the nation.
We're very patient, we're persistent, we use the media, we use legal tools available to us, and that gets us results.
And as a Muslim, we should help CAIR to stand there.
All of us make this organization, not only one person, not only one office.
CAIR is willing to fight the tough fights.
Every day, sometimes 7 days a week.
We defend the Constitution. We defend our rights. We stand for values.
We're principled in that if there is a violation of a right, there is a willingness on our part to do everything that we can to vindicate that right for that person.
And we help them resolve these issues.
They're dealing with this on a daily basis.
We come to the defense of oppressed people.
They supported me and they fought for me night and day. And
effectively fight for the rights of the Muslims, our civil rights, and our human rights.
I became an attorney at CAIR because I wanted to be a part of the process through which American Muslims are going to become a part of the fabric of America.
Because the job we do on a daily basis is vital.
But I know that I'm going to have a positive impact for the American Muslim community.
CAIR has succeeded so far because of the support of the Muslim community. CAIR can succeed more. CAIR can be stronger only if more people join the CAIR organization. If more supporters are there, if more donors are there, every Muslim, every people of the society at large, they see that a lot needs to be done. But CAIR has the formula, CAIR has the expertise, CAIR needs more people to join its ranks, its forces, to reflect that beauty and strength and hope in the future.